Last time we made this train in this station with this fully working lift to get up and down. We also used a tunnel boring machine to make some very long tunnels, but not enough railway tracks to go all the way along them. So this time we want to extend the track that the train is on so that it goes a little bit further than, well, here. But first, here I am in a combination of iron, gold and leather armor, and that's not good enough, is it? We need to get some diamond stuff and some decent enchants. And I want to see if the villagers are in a mood to help me do that. First of all, I've chosen this house to be my trading hall, and I'm just clearing out a bit of space to make room for it. So having done that, I've got a nice clear space with a single workstation, and I just need a villager to come along and connect to it, and I shall trap them in for life. Of course, I don't just want the one villager though, so I'm going to make some more workstations to try and attract and trap a few more. Many hours later, and we've got our villagers in place, and I've been very busy rolling their trades to get what we want. And let me introduce you to Bridget over here in the corner, because she will trade me some mending books. I've also got a couple of Fletchers over here in the corner, and they will take my sticks and flint and turn them into emeralds for me, which is excellent. I've also got a couple of armourers in the trading hall, but they only want to sell me shoes and trousers, so I'm going to have to make my own jumper and hat. By which of course I mean chestplate and helmet. Now then, I can get rid of my leather, gold and iron armour and cover myself in diamonds. We still need to get all of that enchanted though, and some of these trades are pretty expensive, so it's taking a little while. But a bit later, I do have enough protection, mending and unbreaking books in order to enchant all 4 pieces of armour. I've just got to combine the books together and then get them onto the armour itself. My only issue with that though is I don't have enough experience to do it all. But we do have the experience nuggets that we got from our quests earlier, and it looks like we can turn those into proper experience using a machine a bit like this. First I need to pop down a fluid tank, then we need a pipe that connects to it, and let's just make sure it's going the right way. We want the liquid going into the fluid tank, and that is going to pull liquid experience out of the disenchanter. Then we want another mechanical pump that pumps the liquid back out of the fluid tank so that I can collect it. To power these, I'm just going to put a cog on here and connect it to a crank handle. I don't need it to be fully automatic, I can just stand here and wind the thing myself. So let's grab some XP nuggets and see if we can level ourselves up. I'll just drop these on here, they should go into the disenchanter, and I turn the crank handle. Whoops, let's try again. Well, this doesn't seem to be working. I keep picking up the experience nuggets again, and I don't seem to be sucked into the disenchanter. Well, having pondered the disenchanter again, it looks like we need to feed items into it using a belt, so that's easy enough. We can just put another cog down here, and I'm just going to place a belt on that leads into the disenchanter. And now I use right click to place the experience nuggets onto the belt. Oh, and I've gained the experience. Is that all I needed to do? I don't need this machine at all. Yeah, alright, it's not that funny. Apparently then I can just grab some experience nuggets and chuck them against the floor, right clicking them, and yeah, we get some experience. So let's enchant my trousers. You can call them leggings if you have to. I don't have quite enough levels for the boots, but we can just go and grab some more. But that only gives me 13 levels, and each of these pieces of equipment is going to need 16 levels for me to get the enchantment book on them. The boots only need 13 though, so that's them done. What am I going to do about getting more levels though? Well, I've got a plan, and it involves this thing. You see, by creating a minecart contraption immediately underneath a spawner, we can move the spawner to wherever we want it to be. And you might remember that a few episodes ago we found a zombie spawner right here in our caves below the base. So if I clear out a little bit of space underneath it, we should be able to place our minecart underneath and a minecart contraption maker jobby, and then we should be able to just swipe away that spawner. And that means we can place a whole bunch of spawners in the same place to make an overpowered mob farm. Here we go then, I just place a bit of track underneath the spawner down here. I'll chuck my minecart on top of it, and now if I grab the cart assembler we can... Oh no, bad things are happening. I'm stuck, I can't get out, and I really don't want to have to break the spawner. That would be a disaster, but I'm suffocating. And truth be told, I'm adding this voiceover later, and I know I could have just pressed shift and that would have been fine, but I didn't think of that, I was panicking. But no real harm done, we just need to go back and collect the goods from my corpse and then we can try again. Except, where is my corpse? I mean, I was in the minecart and my head was in the spawner, so has it got stuck inside the spawner? Is it going to start spawning corpses or something? That would be weird. Let me just grab this track and... I mean, let's have a look at the thing. It still looks like a zombie spawner to me. If my corpse was stuck in there, then the mini zombie inside would have turned into a mini plod corpse. I wonder if my corpse has gone down there underneath it. Well, I don't have any tools to dig down, so let's go and get some and we'll find out. After quickly making a pickaxe, yes, we're in luck. There's my corpse. Thank goodness for that. I really don't want to lose that armour so soon after making it. Let's try again then, and this time I'm going to make sure I put the cart assembler down before I put the minecart on the track. So let's put the minecart in then, and now I need something to power the assembler, like a lever. And I didn't bring anything, did I? Let me go and get something. I find it so difficult to remember everything I need to take with me when I'm doing this stuff. Anyway, lever in hand, let's do this. We switch it on and now we just should be able to click on it with the wrench and it should pop into our inventory and the spawner should disappear. Just like that. Now I just need to make somewhere to put it. Let's do this. The way I'm planning to kill the zombies is with a deployer, so they will come down the water streams and end up in this corner of the building here, and if we stick a deployer on, then we should be able to set it up so it will punch the zombies. For starters, I just need to get it pointing the right way, which apparently is easier said than done. Okay, that's facing the right direction now, and if I tap on it with the wrench, we can turn it from use mode into attack mode. For it to work, it is of course going to need some power, so I'm going to put a water wheel and some cogs in over here to make it do its punching. Will you get out of the way, please? To start with, I've just put a big water wheel in and I'm attaching it to the deployer directly, and that's very slow, isn't it? But after a little bit of jiggery-pokery, we've managed to speed it right up. So if we look at this water wheel, we can see it produces 512 stress units, and if we wander back over to the deployer, we can see that it's using all 512 stress units, so it is moving at maximum speed, which is perfect. Before we get the zombie spawner in though, we just need to think about storage of the stuff it's going to produce, and I am going to use some of these storage tanks for the first time. So you can't click on these the way you can with a chest or a barrel for example, but you can put stuff in and take stuff out using the other create component. So a setup like this will transfer the items from the deployer to the vault, and now we're going to climb the wall and put the spawner in. This metal ladder, by the way, is just a normal ladder that you can convert using the carpenter's table. I've broken a hole in the wall. I'm just going to use these planks to make myself a little walkway to walk along to get the spawner into the middle. So I'm going to put the minecart contraption here, and of course I need a space for a lever next to it. So there's my lever, there's my rail. Let's place a torch down to make sure the spawner doesn't activate. Now the moment of truth, here's the minecart contraption. Let's flick the lever. Oh, and nothing's happened because I forgot to put the cart assembler down. One day I get something right first time. Here we go. And now the minecart. And that looks a lot more promising. Now we can break the minecart and the spawner should stay put. And it does. So now we can just break all this stuff and take it back with us again. And now we just break the torch and let it start raining zombies. That's what we want to hear, the sound of a zombie being hit. And what we want to see, of course, is this, the experience nuggets coming out of the deployer and going into our storage. We're not done yet, because when I made the trading hall over in the village, I heard a lot of zombie sounds, and so I went to explore, and sure enough, I found another spawner right underneath there. So we've got a second zombie spawner that we can pick up and put into our mob farm. So if I just break these wooden planks down here, I've made a little staircase that leads down to the spawner. And let's see if I can collect this one without dying, shall we? So this should be simple enough. I just stick a torch on the existing spawner to stop the zombies, and then we'll follow exactly the same process to put this spawner. We'll put it directly underneath the existing one. And we'll get it right this time. So rail, and then the minecart loadery thing, a torch to keep us safe, lever, now the minecart contraption. It's in the right place. Remove the minecart, then get rid of the torch, and now we've got twice the zombies spawning. Now I've remembered that belts don't use up any stress units at all, so instead of this one having its own water wheel, I've attached it to the other one, and not only does that save me a water wheel, but it means it's a lot faster. Now we've got all these gubbins going into our vault, but I want to get the experience nuggets and only them out again. And to do that, I'm going to use a brass funnel because we can add a filter to that. So with no filter, it will just spit everything out in stacks. But clicking here with a nugget applies the filter we want. I'm going to add a chest here and connect it up with a belt, then all the experience nuggets will go into that chest and I'll be able to pick them up whenever I want to. Just need to power this belt, so I should just be able to grab the power from this gearbox and connect it up with a couple of cogs. It's going to turn the wrong way though, so we just want a second gearbox to make it go right. Then we just join it up, and of course I've forgotten to put a funnel on the chest. I'll use a brass one so that it can cope with full stacks of items. Now my challenge is to try and make this thing look a little bit neater, and andesite casing is great at this. It can cover over these shafts and the cogs just to box everything in and make it look just a little bit tidier. There we are, I think that's looking a lot tidier. But round this side where the water wheels are, I'm going to try and hide this mess of cogs by extending the building out a little bit. The shape of the building might be done, but I've definitely got some other ideas about how we want to decorate it a bit further. First of all, I'm just going to fill in the corners with a different colour, just to give us a bit of texture variation. And I might come back and give the roof a bit of shape in the future, but for now I'm just going to slab over it to make sure it is spawn proof. Well, that will do on the building for now. Let's see how many experience nuggets we've managed to obtain. And that's what, 6 and a bit stacks? That's not bad, I'm happy with that. The big question is it enough to finish enchanting my armour? And the big answer is yes. Yes it is. There we are then, all 4 slots filled with diamond armour with unbreaking, mending and protection 4. That's what I wanted. There's another couple of modifications I've wanted to make to the farm. So behind me you can see I've put a trapdoor in so we can have a sneaky look at what's going on. And also I've got this chest here next to me that's got a hopper underneath it. I've put some weapons in here so you can see there's some axes and some swords. And they're going into the deployer here. At the moment I've set it up so that it'll take in the axes. And that will make sure the deployer is actually holding a weapon when it hits the zombies. And obviously that kills them that little bit faster. But talking of killing them faster, we did get a little bit of a backlog, so I wanted to speed things up even more. So what I've done is I've put a second water wheel on here, and if I wander through here, I've put in a slightly different arrangement of cogs so that we can get the speed out of that second water wheel. So things are running about twice the speed as they were. But although I can see the end of the process there with the trapdoor, I think the building would look better, and actually it'd be a bit more fun if I could see inside the rest of it. And in order to do that I'm going to need tinted glass, and for tinted glass I am of course going to need amethyst. Now so far I've only found one amethyst geode on my travels, and it's all the way at the other end of my tunnel, and my mining machine kind of sliced through it a little bit. But this ability to move spawners around the world has given me an idea. I want to go and try it out. Here I am at the geode then, and actually the tunnel mining machine hasn't cut too much of it off. I think you know what the idea is that I've got, so let's get in there and see if we can give it a try. I've cleared some space under one of the budding blocks, and here's my rail, cart assembler and lever. Hopefully we'll be able to take this budding amethyst away with us. Let's chuck our minecart in, flick the lever and see what happens. Well, that looks promising. It's turned into a minecart contraption. But if I tried to pick it up with the wrench, it says a mystical force is binding it to the world. And that basically means we can't pick it up. Never mind though, we can still expose all of the budding amethyst blocks and harvest them the old-fashioned way. The good thing is this geode is right underneath where I want to build in the future, so we'll definitely be spending some time loading it in this area. For now though, I'm going to head back to base with my measly portion of 16 amethyst shards. I did get quite a few amethyst blocks though, and I wonder, if I chuck this in the crushing wheels, would I get some shards out? Yes, I do. Let's grab a whole stack of blocks and do the same thing again. So this gives me well over a stack of tinted glass. That should be plenty to make some windows with. With my tinted glass, I've put in some observation windows on every side, and they're slightly different on each one. We've got a little balcony on each side that allows us to go up and have a little look in. So that's a little peep. There they all go. And the nice thing is with these windows, although they don't let any light in so the spawners still work, it allows us to see better. This one I've kept a little bit more compact instead of having the ladder coming all the way out. We've got the staircase coming up alongside the building. It's just so satisfying. Not much on this side, just a low ground floor window so we can see the end of the waterway down here. I didn't bother doing anything up there. I think there's enough going on this side of the building really, so I figured I didn't need too much more. I might put some plain black glass windows, not tinted glass, just in these bits where they're kind of machine houses. They don't need to be tinted glass because there's no zombies in there. In fact, we want it lit up inside, but it might just kind of add to the feel of the building a bit. But yeah, I'm kind of happy with that. The main thing is it's working really, really well. But we're running out of time for this episode, and there's loads I haven't done yet. I'd still like to do a little bit more to tidy this island up. There's still some stone there that we haven't turned into moss, and I'd like to get some sand all the way around the edges of it just to make it look a bit more kind of complete. And we've got a really harsh corner down here to try and sort out. So yeah, I need to try and spruce the island up a little bit. Over here we've got our elevator that goes down to our underground station, and I want to make this look like an underground station too, like the top of one. And of course we've got some more create bits and pieces here that we want to hide away and just tidy up a bit, make it look a bit better. All of this stuff is of course my cobble generator. I want to get rid of this completely and replace it with a better one. And that's why I want to get this tube train moving, because I want to build my farms at the other end of this tunnel on the big island so that I've got a bit more space to play with. So lots more to do, but at least I've got fully enchanted diamond armour in which to do it. So hopefully I won't die quite as often. And that's quite an achievement. We've also got an infinite source of XP and, well, rotten flesh if we want it, and also the other stuff that's gone into the vault, all the armour and other bits and pieces that zombies drop. We've got all of that stuff, as much of it as we want. So I reckon that's enough for this episode. I'll see you next time. Bye.